All right, so now we've moved on to the Collage Station Skill Builder, and we're going to experiment and explore with collage techniques. And collage is a French word that means pasted paper, so we're going to be gluing today. And the first one is overlapping tissue paper. So whenever you use collage, sometimes it's nice to have a thinned glue, especially tissue paper, so that it lays down flat. If you use the bottle glue, it stays kind of bumpy and the glue is just too thick. So at the Collage Station, you'll see a couple of bottles that are marked thinned glue, which means it's just glue mixed with water. So what you need to do probably first, making sure the lid is on tight, is to shake it up a little bit because the glue is thick. So it seeps to the bottom and the water sticks at the top. So you don't want just water or water that's kind of got a little bit of glue color to it. So you want to mix that up. And I also have at the Collage Station some cups with a line on it because you shouldn't pour the thinned glue higher than this line. And you might be surprised on how little that you need. So you're just going to open that up and pour some of this glue into the bottom of the cup. You're going to use the wooden handled paintbrushes with the stiff bristle brush. So we're going to use overlapping tissue paper. So I got some tissue paper from the Collage Station. And the first thing you want to do is just paint on the glue into the box. Now collage looks neat and shows a lot of craftsmanship if you keep the papers flat on the page. So these strips are a little too long, so I'm going to tear them and just lay this down on this thinned glue. And it says overlapping tissue paper, so I need to put some tissue paper on top of other tissue paper. And I'm going to try and keep it inside the box. So I pulled off a little bit of that so it didn't stick outside the box. And I'm trying not to have it wrinkly and trying to lay it down flat, but if you're going for wrinkly, then just make sure that it's not too thick, that it lays pretty flat even if it is wrinkly. So you might be going for that texture. Now if you do overlapping a lot and you find that the pieces just aren't sticking, then you might need to put another layer of glue over the top. Then once you kind of have your square pretty much filled in, then you're going to take and carefully put another layer of glue over the top of this. And you don't want to pull too much because like the red is going to bleed and you're going to get red in the glue. So you don't want to keep going back and forth. You kind of want to stay in one space and work in that one space, then get some more glue and work in the next space. You also don't want to put this glue on too thick. So see how the red is bleeding? I'm pulling it across in that glue and the red is with the tissue paper is bleeding. And I don't want to pull that red all over the yellow tissue paper and then change all the yellow to orange. I want there to be able to see those colors. Whenever you're doing collage, your pieces should lay flat. Unless you're going for a texture or going for a relief sculpture look with pieces sticking up off the paper. If you're not going for that, then you should take your time and make sure these pieces lay nice and flat. So my last step would be just to cover those last few pieces that I added with some glue on top. Alright, so the next one is torn pieces. So I just went to the Collage Station and got some scraps. And since it's torn, I'm just going to tear the pieces. I don't want them too big because this area isn't very big. You can use one color or multiple colors for this box. And I'm just going to use 2 colors. Now, since this is construction paper, I could go and put glue on each piece and glue them down, but it's faster and easier just to do the glue, the thinned glue across the box. Now, if these are laying flat, you could leave them, but they're really, mine aren't. The corners of mine where they overlap each other are sticking up because there isn't any glue underneath them. So now I'm going to take that thinned glue again, and I'm going to put it over the top of these pieces, and wherever any piece isn't sticking, put some glue underneath it to get those to lay down nice and flat. And again, you don't want to put this on real thick on top. You want to pull that across thinly, and you can see I've got bubbles and streaks of glue, so that's not going to look nice. So I need to pull some of that glue off there by pulling a dry paintbrush across and then pulling it against the edge of the cup of glue and get some of that glue off there, because that's just too much glue. If you can see brush strokes, that's too much glue. All right, and looking back here, my glue is starting to puddle here, so just take my paintbrush and pull that up. So now my next box, using a variety of scissors. So I have at the collage station a variety of different scissors, and you can just try them out. And these I think I will just use regular glue on. So I'm just going to put a thin line of glue on the back. Now if these are laying flat for you, then you can be done with this box. If they're not laying flat, you might want to put another layer of glue over the top like I did for this torn paper square. Okay, and then the last one, you're going to create a mini landscape, and a landscape is a picture of outside. So whenever you're doing a collage, sometimes it's better to work background to foreground. So the background was going to be blue sky. So I've got some scrap paper. I'm going to find some scrap paper that will fit inside the box. Take my pencil and mark where the box is. This top edge isn't very straight, so I'm going to trim that to make it straight and see if it'll fit. Yeah, it's pretty close, but it's too long at the bottom. So I'm going to trim that off, and I'm going to put a frame of glue on the back. And see, this is scrap paper. There's some pencil lines here from somebody who made a mistake or didn't use that part, but I can still use it and glue the pencil side down, and nobody needs to know that that was on there. Okay, made a bit of a glue mess. So I'm going to take a paper towel, wrap it around my finger, clean up the edges here so nothing's squirting out. Okay, and then here's my collage page. I can leave this like this, or if I wanted, I could do what I did with the torn paper. I could take and put a layer of glue over the top. Especially if I have any edges that aren't staying glued down, I can take some of this thin glue and wipe that underneath the edge to get that to stay down. And then again, I don't want these brush strokes, so I'm going to take my paintbrush, pull it across the edge, get the glue out of it, and then pull the dry paintbrush across this glue where it's too thick. And what I do when I'm doing the edges, I just take my paintbrush and kind of scooch it under there real fast and then pull it back down with my paintbrush, and it'll stay like flat. So since this is collage and it's glued, you're going to have to take your art studio sketchbook and you're going to have to put it on the drying rack open like this, because you know if you close it, those pages are going to stay stuck together. I also have a bit of a glue mess over here. Pick up those glue messes, clean that edges up, because you want me to sign off on this. And if you have a big glue mess, you've been a big glue monster, I'm not going to be signing off on this page of your sketchbook. So take your time and make sure it's nice and clean and no big gloppy glue messes. When it's time to clean up your collage mess, this thinned glue should still be at the collage station. You should have poured it out at the collage station, but you have this mess to clean up. So you'll have to take this to the sink. You'll have to rinse this out, run this under the water, running faucet, not too fast or you'll make a big mess. Use this paintbrush to wiggle around in this cup and get the glue out of this cup. This cup goes upside down on the black towel, and then you need to run it under some warm water with your fingers and massage the paintbrush bristles to get all this glue out of there. If you don't rinse this paintbrush out completely with the glue, then it stays stuck forever. Put this on the drying rack to dry, and then the next time you have art, I can sign